Welcome everybody to a special episode of Three Count. If you didn't see last night's episode of Raw, the way it ended with the Lana and Bobby Lashley wedding and
spoilers. Just make sure it's spoilers. If you don't want to know what happened, don't listen to this podcast because this is what it's all about. We're not even going to talk about the rest of Raw last night because it's kind of pointless.
This is all about the Lana Lashley wedding and everything that came around with it. All right, so let's see here.
Proceed.
So we have Bobby Lashley. They had this whole thing, the whole show about it. They had what was that? Rowan asked for invitation and some other things going on. So they finally come to the wedding. They have the wedding. They come down to the I do's. They did it. Then they come down to the part of wait, hold on, I forgot. I skipped the part. Lana actually wrote Bobby's wedding vows.
Yeah,
wrote it for him, and I thought he was gonna do something like, oh hell no, and then walk away, and that be done with it, and then whatever happened. But he didn't. He actually read it. I was like, okay, I'm surprised at that.
So they just turned Bobby Lashley into a big old bitch.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. At that point, yeah.
Not to mention,
I love.
Why was this man wearing makeup? Before we even get to that, why was this man wearing so much makeup?
Somebody actually said something about that. The reason is when Bobby Lashley gets into the ring, he starts to sweat a lot. I don't know whether it's like the actual active competition or whether it's the ring lights and stuff that's getting to him. But they said my man starts like literally glistening, and he put like the foundation on to try and stop that.
Yeah. Put some baby powder on them, my friend. Don't put no foundation on because obviously their waterproof foundation is trash.
Yep.
Trash. Because we all could see Lana had a big chocolate strip on her face, like somebody just wiped their ass with her face. No, that joke was garbage.
Considering the segment,
Ted said it the best.
Considering the segment, it was fitting.
But Ted said it the best.
For sure.
Ted said the best in his Twitter account. He was like, Lana kissed the black off Lashley.
Yep.
But proceeding with what happened. So they said their wedding vows. They said the I do's. The person holding the wedding asked if anybody had any objections, and who do we have come down? Apparently, Lana's first husband says, "Don't do it because it's gonna be what was it? She's gonna leave you." I forgot what he said, but
she's gonna leave you. She left me for Rusev, so she's just gonna leave you like she left me and Rusev for another guy. Mm-hmm. First of all, can we start calling Lana freaking Kofi Kingston 2.0 because her Russian accent only happens when she says ravishing. Her accent is gone.
I don't even know why they call her a ravishing Russian anymore. It's not a character.
Yeah, it's trash. Trash. Not to mention, if you're gonna go with that, then why wouldn't the guy be Russian?
Because Vince doesn't know what Russia is. He doesn't know what Bulgaria is. He just knows that it's over there. And it's not America.
With all his connections, he should know exactly who Russia is because he's. No, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna do that. Not gonna go there. We're not fitting to do that. Proceed. I'm gonna shut my mouth up.
So, I think Bobby punched him out. He went down all.
Real quick though, shout out to this indie guy real quick though, because my man came out here. I don't know how much experience he has with major companies. But my man came out there and cut a promo like he'd been cutting promos since the day he was born. There was no stumbling. There was no hesitation in what he was saying. My man came out there and cut this promo, although it was short and it was stupid. He cut the promo with the conviction of a seasoned vet. So shout out to him for that.
Yeah. Then out of nowhere, then they ask again, and then lo and behold comes Lashley's first wife.
Who, again, for the life of me, I can't remember their names or whatever, but like I said, she's been involved with the WWE before. It's not her, it's somebody else.
I don't know.
I can't remember the girl's name.
I was like, yo, where's the Fiend at, bro? Because y'all doing too much now.
Oh, no, it gets better. It gets better. So then Lana smacks her off the apron. She falls down. They ask again. And I would probably have to say the worst debut of a repackaged wrestler ever in the history of WWE. If it's not, then it's up there. Liv Morgan comes out and starts, I guess you would say, professing her love to Lana. Why are you doing this? What about us? And this and that. I'm just like, what? What is, why? All these vignettes you did for Liv Morgan, all this with the Twitter account, all of this for this kind of debut of her repackaged image, of her repackaged character.
And then she leans into it by sharing pictures of them two looking like the best of friends. She looked more emotionally attached to Sonya Deville and Nia Jax on Total Divas than she did to Lana in those pictures. And I'm supposed to sit up here and believe that this is couple pictures? Like, I get that this is staged. I get that this is fake. But come on, man.
So do I. Make it a good story, though, man. Make it believable. But
like give me something to believe in.
You took Liv off the air for so long, and you're repackaging her, and this is what you bring her back to?
This is exactly why they shouldn't have broken up the Riot Squad. Like, they were just getting their rhythm, and then you stop using them. Mm-hmm. And then you don't push anyone as a single star. The main person goes out with double rotator cuff surgery. And then you have the opportunity to build the other two stars. You take one out of commission, you put one on main event. I guess because she's green. Okay, cool. Then have her be a valet for the Viking Raider War Experience thing.
Yeah.
That you like. And this is how you read it. You have the Fiend sitting there. You have the storyline of the Fiend sitting there. You have the Sister Abigail thing sitting there. You have so many characters that are over that you could have paired her with. You choose Rusev, who doesn't necessarily need a mic.
Wait, time out. You're going way too hard, too little ahead.
Like,
so.
But like, what?
Yeah. So if you haven't watched it, so after the whole deal with Liv Morgan and all of that, apparently Rusev was hiding behind a giant freaking cake that was behind them the whole freaking time. And even then, like, did you notice it? He was having trouble getting out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He was having trouble getting out of there. And I was just like, okay, this just went from unbearable to bad to worse. Like, however you want to put it, where it's just like the worst ever.
This is worse than any of like the holiday gimmick matches. Like, as stupid as they are, at least there's some level of animosity between the teams. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. We get it.
Right.
How, like, this is worse than the Billy and Chuck thing. Like, this is worse than Billy and Chuck.
At least. That was hilarious.
Yeah, like, at least it was funny. Like, this is worse than Mark Henry marrying Mae Young and having a hand.
Yeah.
This is right up there with the hand situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is so egregious at this point that it's like, I get AEW is botchy, but at this point, if AEW switched to Mondays, I'd still watch AEW over Raw. For real. Like, they may not be able to beat NXT, but I guarantee you they'll beat Raw. This is how
they wanted to end the year. The last show on Raw, and you end it with a cluster of a wedding.
This to me is like the epitome of WWE in 2019. You started off with the run of Kofi Kingston, the women's division main eventing WrestleMania. As ridiculous as the WrestleMania main event was, it was there. And then you circle around to like having Seth Rollins have one of the worst runs with the Universal title I've ever seen. Having Kofi Kingston had a run. It wasn't great, it wasn't bad, but it was a run. To having him drop the title the way he did, to having that ridiculously brain-melting, borderline disrespectful Hell in a Cell match with The Fiend and Seth Rollins. And then this. All within the span of 6 months. It's like someone cracked. I think what it was when Roman Reigns came back and he was on SmackDown and he punched Vince. He punched whatever sense that old man had left in his brain. And he's just acting out of... He's got to have Alzheimer's. He's got to have mental brain damage. There's got to be something wrong. Like, this, to me, is the grounds that we should remove old people from power at this point. Between Donald Trump and Vince McMahon, both of them are not mentally fit to run whatever the hell they're supposed to be running right now. They both need to be replaced. Both of them are old, stupid, and senile. Because this is just retarded. I hate to use the word. You can get offended. I don't care. This is ridiculous. Like, this is just... This is what makes people quit. This is what made people quit wrestling in the early 2000s. Like, this is exactly why wrestling fans get laughed at for enjoying the product.
Mm-hmm.
If Chris Jericho don't come back in the new year and just completely destroy this and say, hey, this is why you should watch AEW, AEW is missing an opportunity. Like, any other shot they took this year was unnecessary. This is necessary. They need to fire off on WWE for this. Because this is disrespectful to every fan, every person that works in the profession. Like, this is just a slap in the face to everything and everyone that enjoys wrestling, period. That's how dumb this was. Like,
Benny, you've been biting, holding your tongue for a moment there.
I'm sorry. I just...
All right.
Nah. I was letting you go. I was letting you go because honestly, I tell my kid all the time, you gotta get it out or else it's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Couple of things. And like I said, it's one of those things right now where I ask this to people a lot. It's you ever get so pissed off that you loop right all the way back around and end up being calm again? That's where I'm at. Like, I'm pretty chill. But it's because of the fact that it's gotten to the point where my rage meter has broken, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And there's absolutely no way and no reason why we should be doing what we're doing right now. Back in 2016, Stephanie McMahon went on NBC Universal and said that they're going to have serious LGBT based storylines sometime in the near future. Now, mind you, that she said in the near future, and we had 2 teases. One of them, granted, you could take it a little, you could take it with a grain of salt because it was just Sasha Banks, just blurting out, "Yes, I love you" to Bayley, but that could have been, platonic, whatever. It is what it is. But that could have been moved to something and had, made it something a little more substantial than just a platonic "I love you," and turned into something that was an actual storyline. You also have Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, who have been lobbying for months to get this LGBT storyline between the two of them. And they have been shut down time and time again. Even to the point where I didn't know this because I don't watch Total Divas, right? But on the season premiere of Total Divas, they said something about, we're going to go meet with management right now to speak about, this story that we want to pitch, that we want to do. And this isn't something that Sonya's going there like by herself because she wants to be like, okay, listen, I'm, the first openly gay, female superstar in the WWE. Let me go out there and push my agenda. No, this is the two of them together. Mandy Rose offering herself up to be the bad guy in this situation, to be the bigot in this situation, And WWE is just like, nah, we're not interested in doing anything like that. What this did is it took me back to not the Attitude Era, but right after, where we're transitioning from the Attitude Era into Ruthless Aggression. You remember the Raw Roulette, where they used to have, they would spin the wheel in the back with Eric Bischoff, and he would, decide what type of match it was going to be. And you had one of the matches was HLA, Hot Lesbian Action. That's what this took me back to. What we're looking at right now, and you probably saw it and heard it in the midst of the debacle that was, that wedding ceremony last night, is two guys in Vince McMahon. And unfortunately, I tried to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, but the more that I think about it, he has a lot to do with this nonsense too. Paul Heyman. Both of them are stuck in the 90s, late 90s, back in the Jerry Springer era, because you heard the crowd out there themselves. Jerry Springer ain't been on TV and relevant for years. But this is what, they're basically trying to pander to, this older, generation of people that are stuck back in their heyday. You had the opportunity, not just with sitting up here throwing mud in the face of Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. You had the opportunity to take Liv Morgan. And I know Jaquan was, and it's not just Jaquan, it's a lot of people, because of how, the rumors and stuff that were coming out, thinking that she was going to be paired with Bray Wyatt. I'm one of the people that wasn't on that train. I wanted her to be by herself, but you had this opportunity to do anything, absolutely anything, with Liv Morgan. You could have turned her into whatever character you wanted her to be, because what they basically did is they took her, they had Charlotte beat the living hell out of her, and then she came out and ran her entire character down, saying like, listen, you're never going to be anything, all right, with the way you are, with your blue tongue and your wannabe Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, gimmick. You're not going to amount to anything, all right? So Liv basically had the opportunity, took all of this time off, to rethink and, find herself and do all of this other stuff. They had the opportunity to turn her into anything they wanted her to be. You could have brought her back as, hell, you could have brought her back as a new Paige, the anti-diva. You could have brought her back. Now, granted, they could still take it in this direction, but when they started showing her vignettes before, what's the first thing I said? If they bring her back and they have her in some type of a Fatal Attraction type character, where she's, like I said, granted, they can bring her back. They can kind of turn it into this, and they might salvage it, the scorned lover type thing. But even then, the way you've portrayed it starting off, you've already shot her in both feet.
Oh, yeah.
Reading directly off of her Twitter, I have to destroy myself so the real me can emerge.
And all you're saying is the real you get.
If that is the real Liv Morgan, I'm already checked out.
Mm-hmm.
Already checked out of somebody that I was legitimately excited to see come back, because you had the opportunity. You had somebody who didn't really have a defined character before, who you made it a point to not add to the roster during like those free agency periods that they had after the draft and anything. No, you made her an actual draft pick, as if to say, watch out for this person when they make their return. But you sat up here and you shoehorned her into this exact same exotic blonde, pretty blonde, not as, I want to say, athletically gifted blonde. And I mean that in, the terms of like a Charlotte type person, because, Charlotte is like stupidly athletic. But you just put her in a box. You had the opportunity literally to do whatever you wanted to. You could have turned this woman into Lara Croft if you wanted. But instead, we got, what was her name?
Sable.
No, not Sable. Not Sable.
Emelina?
Who's the chick when Tori Wilson was posing for Playboy? I can't remember her name up. Dawn Marie. You turned her into Dawn Marie. I'm hot. Yo, Liv Morgan is Joe's girl. That is quite possibly his favorite person all over the roster. He wasn't watching last night. I told him what happened. First thing that came out of his mouth, what the fuck?
It's total waste. Waste.
I'm at a loss. Exactly, and the funny thing about it is, my bad to cut you off. That's only my part about Liv. There's two other parts to this. I said it before. Damn the continuity, right? 2 weeks ago, they interviewed Lashley in the back. What did Lashley say about this wedding? I'm happy for them because now I don't have to pay alimony. Why did he go out there? Why the hell did he go out there and interrupt the wedding? What was the purpose behind it? You were supposed to be happy. You said, "Oh, I don't care about Lana no more. It doesn't matter to me." I don't understand why it is that it is so difficult when the WWE has its own library, has its own social media on multiple platforms, has its own network, has I don't know how many thousands of people working for it that you cannot keep a storyline going in one direction. This is completely like off topic, but 3 weeks ago, Zelina Vega and Andrade were splitting up. Now, that just disappeared out of nowhere. So we got the exact same thing going on over here. 2 weeks ago, you have Rusev not caring about this wedding. And yet he's interrupting. My last thing, and I'm going to let y'all go with the rest of this. I ain't got no problem with Lana in this situation. All right, Lana's meant to be the only person
that came out okay.
She's supposed to be the annoying heel. She's not totally Sable, but she's going that way. So, like I said, I don't have any problem with her in this situation, other than the fact that she can't get the lines right. My other issue is Lashley. You ever seen that SpongeBob meme where he's just like, that's me with Lashley. Why does this only happen with him? That he gets saddled with this bullshit? First it was his sisters. Then there was this stupid beef with Sami Zayn for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Now we got to deal with this nonsense. You have a legitimate killer on your roster. This man could probably tear any other superstar, he comes up against in half. The man looks like he could eat Brock Lesnar. Like literally walk up to him, grab Brock by the neck, and just like chomp him in his face. Like I would not be surprised if I ever saw him do it. And yet, you shoehorn him into this. It's like, honestly, it looks like somebody just scrolled through like the fetish list on Pornhub real quick and just started picking stuff out that they wanted to see. And somebody is a little happy with the cuckolding right now. And apparently that's Paul Heyman. That's his thing. This is stuff that we've been sitting up here thinking he thinks this is entertaining. And Vince is out there signing off on it because he don't know what the hell is, he don't know what being in touch with today's audience is. You should have this guy out here in the role that Samoa Joe was in before he got hurt. You should have him in the role that not exactly the same thing because Mark Henry his body was breaking down at that point, and his whole thing with the Hall of Pain is I'm doing this one last run type thing. But you could legitimately be taking Bobby Lashley and putting him into that role where I'm just going to beat the living hell out of everybody I come across. It's like they don't know how to write the angry heel anymore. The angry heel that doesn't need help. The angry heel that doesn't need to be, attached with anything other than, a belt once he gets it. I'm just like, when he came back, I think it was like the night after WrestleMania 34, I think it was. When he came back at that point, the first thing that popped in my head is, I hope to God they actually treat this man the way that he's supposed to be treated this time around.
Mm-hmm. We all said that. I think we all said that.
And I was a goddamn fool for even thinking that it was possible.
Good thing we hold our breath.
I honestly can't, yo. I honestly can't. I'm sitting up here, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe, he can't sit up there and, because I don't think he has the type of pull that the rest of these guys do that will just flat out be like, no, I'm not doing this shit. Because you remember Dean Ambrose had to do a bunch of nonsense that he was like, he didn't want to do. He had to go out there dropping lines that he knew good and well weren't gonna go over right, considering the situation that they were dealing with, i.e., at the time, Roman Reigns has cancer. So I can sit up here and I can pretty much imagine that he's sitting there in the back like, I don't want to do this nonsense. I want to be out here competing like somebody who deserves to be out there in the ring. I don't want to be saddled with this bullshit storyline. But Vince probably dropped this is just good shit, and this is what we're gonna have to do, or else you're gonna have to do something completely stupid and get run into the ground like they're about to do to the Revival. I don't know. I honestly haven't the slightest idea. I'm just like, what needs to happen is you need to get some younger blood in the creative and in those positions of power, those executive positions, so that you can have stories that make sense and stories that aren't completely offensive when it comes to being progressive. Because you went out there and you had, and I'm speaking about Vince, you had your daughter go out on national TV and say that they were going to be doing logical and progressive LGBT storylines, and you took it and made it a Pornhub search. Because all it did was turn into a cat fight. We're not talking about, somebody fighting for, recognition, somebody fighting for, equality or anything like that. We're not going down that road. So you just sat up here and you've made your daughter out to be a liar because you thought it was funny, because you thought that was entertaining, even though 20, 30 years ago it was. Now it's not. People have grown up, and the people that sat up there that are tweeting like, oh man, this was a great segment or whatever, they're the ones that are out of touch, and they're putting the idea in Vince's head that this was good. It wasn't. It's fucking horrible.
I mean, for me too, it's like WWE has always been the industry that goes up against the envelope and kind of challenges the social norms. But there is a way and a time to do that. And then there are other times where it's like, okay, let's not touch that. This is one of those times where, for one thing, you crown your first black champion this year off no real merit of your own. It was just you were going with what the crowd said, and you did that. But what you're doing with Lashley to me just kind of feels like the milkman in a way. I'm like, you could have put so many other superstars that needed a, like, if this was Mojo, maybe I would have found it funny. This was Curtis Axel, Zack Ryder, one of those other guys, one of the dozens of other superstars that could have done this.
Breezango.
Breezango, like,
one of the guys from
Tyler Breeze is literally, like, Fandango just got hurt again. Tyler Breeze isn't doing anything.
Tyler Breeze would have been a perfect one.
Yeah.
Perfect one.
But instead, you take the big, muscly black guy, and I'm not supposed to be slightly offended by this? Like, we know what Mandingo is, and that's exactly what this feels like. And then, like Benny said, like, Lashley is a legitimate, bona fide pound-for-pound killer that has thrived. Even the Leo Rush thing was annoying, but it worked.
I'll get to that in a moment.
So he's proven that he can be the type to run through the roster. And, like, you have the Samoa Joe thing. And now that you have Samoa Joe as a face, you can basically replace him with another. Like, they did the same thing to Kevin Owens. When he first came in, he was a prize fighter, and then they decided to change him around. For what reason, I don't know. Samoa Joe becomes more of a prize fighter, which made him successful in NXT. And now he's a face. Cool, I get it, because you need an antithesis to Seth Rollins, and you need someone who has some legitimacy behind him. Cool, I get it. Turn him face. Cool, I got it. I'm not even mad about that. But Bobby, since he's come back, has, like, you stupid, Benny.
I'm saying that's what it is.
Since he's come back, has, like, he's won the Intercontinental title. That's it. Like, he hasn't even sniffed the main event scene.
The closest he got to it.
With him that I have with Drew McIntyre. That it's like, well, what are you doing? Like, what, the main event scene should not just be Shield guys and
no.
foiling Shield guys. Like, come on now. Like, bro, even when DX was big, like, the main event was not just Triple H when he broke off from DX. Like, you built a bunch of other stars. Like, you have the exact same opportunity time and time again, and you just don't do it. Because for some reason, it's just like, we're going to focus on 3 people, and that's going to be our main event scene. And it's ridiculous. This is why we don't have Blood Fuse anymore, because instead of Blood Fuse, they give us stupid stuff like this. Like, look at, like, this year's results say everything. Triple H put a Blood Feud together between Dijakovic and Keith Lee. And Dijakovic and Keith Lee are 2 of the most over NXT stars right now.
Yep.
They did a blood feud between Pete Dunne, Damian Priest, and what's his face from Sanity,
Killian Dane.
Killian Dane. All 3 guys over. Don't know who's in the main event scene. Don't know who's in the mid card scene. But all those guys legitimately can go after any belt they want now. And Triple H has about 9 or 10 guys that can go for any title right now. So he's set for the next 1.5 to 2 years. And every feud would make sense. Who's in the main event right now on the other 2 shows? I don't know. Who's in the mid card? What is the mid card? Now we're looking at the mid card where now we can just flip it on live shows and we're just supposed to accept it. After not even after basically destroying Andrade, you're just gonna put the title on him now because it's convenient and because he's Mexican. Really? So we got Black.com and now we're gonna pander to race. Instead of legitimately building guys out of their own merit and respecting them as an act. We're just gonna use the race just because. When you had the momentum going into and leaving WrestleMania. But this is how you're gonna, like, this is how you treat minorities now? Because that's what it comes down to with Vince. It's like, you can write for everybody else, but somebody who got a little tint in their skin. You can write for everybody else, though.
It's always been like that, bro.
Semi-long hair and overdoes the shampoo, he can write for them. Or if they're Samoan, he can write for them. Everybody else can't write for some reason. What I'm not understanding. Like this makes no sense to me. And you think this is actually good? You've literally messed up 3 consecutive cycles in a row and finished off 3 consecutive cycles with this bullshit. Like, what's the point of watching Raw at this point? Like, realistic, what's the point?
I almost didn't watch. I almost didn't watch it, but I held hope. I was like, all right, let me see what they're gonna do.
Like, I feel like at this point, I've stopped watching every show, but like the only one I'll actually rewatch is NXT at this point.
You know what? I don't think it would have been as bad if they put the wedding on like somewhere in the middle. But I think the whole bad part about it is you end the show with it. You build
the show around it.
You end the last episode of the year for Raw, which is your main show, with a cluster of a promo that went nowhere, that destroyed the redebut package of a star that everybody was waiting for. If you had done it in the middle of the show, okay, I think people would have let it go. Whatever. They would have still been.
They wouldn't have.
They would have been upset about how Liv Morgan was brought back, but I don't think they would have been like, we are like, okay, you're gonna end the last show of the year of your main show like this. Really?
It's just there's just so much, like just.
See
what? Like
the problem is this. Bobby needs a mouthpiece. We know that. We all know that. Lana is not supposed to be the mouthpiece for Bobby. You can't have Lana as a mouthpiece for Bobby. That's why Leo Rush was perfect for Bobby. It was perfect. Now, if you want to put Bobby, say, with like Street Profits somehow, good. If you want to put Bobby with somebody else that can be the mouthpiece, like Drake Maverick, good. Bobby, for some reason, Bobby just can't cut promos. He can't do anything on the mic. That's nothing wrong with him, but he still can perform in the ring.
He's basically a black Brock Lesnar. Like,
yeah, he's really
the same way. Like, it's not hard.
That's what I'm saying.
He's really awkward when it comes to speaking, and when it comes to, and because of the fact that his voice is so high. So I get the want to put him with somebody who can actually speak. But
Lana ain't it.
Lana's not it.
She's not.
No. She's not it.
No, she's absolutely not. Like the question
Lana's the perfect mouthpiece for a guy like Tyler Breeze or Velveteen Dream.
Yep.
That type of character works with Lana.
Lana's not much of a mouthpiece though. To me, she's not like even when she was with Rusev, I found her a bit annoying. She's not like she's. What am I looking at? Do you remember Sensational Sherry?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. She's not overtaking too much. Like, she'll talk, but she's not controlling the whole segment. Because Sensational Sherry would talk, she'll say certain things, she'll intervene here and there and there, but she wouldn't take over the whole promo. Macho Man controlled the promo, or anybody who would control the promo. She was like a little sidekick on top that would
add. Told, I didn't mind her as a wrestler. I don't know why they have to try and pigeonhole her. She's better when she's by herself. She's better when if she's gonna be green, fine. Let her wrestle on main event. Let her get the wrestling experience, and then re-debut her as the basically what you have Mandy Rose being. Mandy Rose, Carmella, they're all the same. They're all decent on the mic. They all can moderately wrestle. And at some point, you can put the championship on them and they'll be fine because people will hate them. She doesn't need to be a valet. She just doesn't. And if she's going to be a valet, she has to be a valet for someone who's already overly sexual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
It's fun to get. I didn't like this combo. I didn't like the storyline. It was just annoying. It was not a good look for Bobby.
Not at all. Like,
No.
he's not a sex symbol.
No. He's a wrestler.
He's a killer. He's a killer. He should be the Terminator type of killer.
Yeah.
Like, even if you would have put Baron Corbin before he became King Corbin, his character would have made more sense with Lana than Bobby Lashley. You know, Dolph Ziggler would have made more sense with Lana than Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley
we did that already.
Yeah.
Let's not do that again.
No.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, anybody else. Like, you could have had her try to kick it to Street Profits, and then that's how you debut Bianca Belair.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a much better storyline. It would have given her a feud where we can actually look at her like, okay, she's just a heel that's going to do everything possible to win. Like, basically, you could have did what they did with Alexa Bliss. Because everybody hated Alexa Bliss, but Alexa Bliss got, 4 or 5 reigns as champion? Because she was great on the mic?
5.
Same blueprint, bruh. Alexa Bliss is just... the only difference is that Alexa Bliss is actually athletic. Lana's a dancer. Like, she's basically just... what was her name? Kelly.
Yeah, but when you see Lana, when you saw Lana wrestle, she's still green. The botches were there bad, bro.
Okay, then put her on main event.
They need to move her down to NXT, if anything. They just push NXT.
No.
Just stay.
Nah. You can't put her in NXT.
She's
too much of a name.
Not even just that. She'd get killed down in NXT.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she doesn't fit that division.
You can't keep her on the main roster. It's going to be another, was that Eve?
Honestly, that's pretty much what she is right now.
It's worse than that, though. It's worse than that. Eve was wrestling, though.
But my whole thing is, if you're having someone like Sarah Logan get her reps in on main event, and they basically came out with a report that says Vince doesn't see Dana Brooke as anything else but an enhancement talent, then let her be an enhancement talent.
That to me is disrespectful.
Yeah, I like Dana Brooke.
That's disrespectful.
I like Dana Brooke, but again, from a wrestling standpoint, I can't get behind her. From a character standpoint, I can't get behind her. She's just a lovable babyface that's always gonna get beat. Fine, she's an enhancement talent.
On the wrestling point, I could get behind her. They just gotta give her time. I always said before, I feel that they handcuff some of these wrestlers down to what they want to do and what they can do. They tell them, do this, do that. So you have to remember this. Whatever you see there, you have to try and wonder and see, are they being handcuffed? And I feel Dana's being handcuffed. You can see some of her athletic ability out there when she does some moves. So she can.
But can she wrestle? Can she tell a story in the ring? Is her ring psychology there? I don't see any of those things.
Well, she's never getting a chance, though. So we don't know.
Even when you see her wrestle on main event, she can wrestle a 15-minute match. You don't see it. It's not there. Everything she does is clunky. Everything she's ever done is, hey, root for me. I have big tits. Like, that's all I see from her. The only time I was ever behind Dana Brooke was when she broke up with Charlotte. And her story with Charlotte, as she was a minion who was trying to go off on her own. That was the last time they really had Dana Brooke in a position where you could put the strap on her and people would follow her. That was their one shot to make her a star, and they blew it. Now she's seriously just an enhancement talent. Until she gets better on the mic, or until she actually comes up with a defined character, and she's like, oh, I'm not just going to, okay, we're going to have women who can flex. Cool. The thing is, she's already what Charlotte, she's like a poor person Charlotte. She has someone else's character. Charlotte is technically the strong chick. All Dana Brooke is saying, hey, it's okay for girls to lift. Okay, cute. We all know all wrestlers have to lift. Like, you're not distinguishing yourself. She's an enhancement talent. That's how I see Lana.
Well, even then, when it comes down to her, they can actually do a little bit more with her because if you think about somebody like Alexa Bliss she's not a bodybuilder, but she is absolutely a fitness model type wrestler. If you've seen some of the stuff from the competitions and stuff that she's been in, I'm like, bro.
Granted, but can you hate Alexa Bliss? Can she make you hate her? Yes or no?
Yes, she can.
Yeah.
Has she made you love her with Nikki Cross? Has she made you love her with Nikki Cross?
No.
Stop bullshitting.
Oh, real.
Stop bullshitting me. Come on now. For what it is, like, do we like them together? No, absolutely not.
You know why I say no? Is because it seems as though they were building towards a breakup with the two of them.
They just pulled the
pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. That's not their fault. That's not their fault. That's creative. When I'm saying, did you when they did it? Did you believe the storyline though? Were you digging the storyline?
At the time, I was just like, yeah, because I think this is going to turn into something. My thing is because of the fact that it didn't turn out, and now it was just like there's no real explanation as to how the two of these, they actually became like a friendship, and then being, going out, testing coffee and all kinds of other stuff with each other.
Notice they're not on TV though. They're not on TV because there's nothing for them to do. So like they could realistically re-debut them separately and it's fine, or they could have Nikki Cross turn heel. They can do whatever they want.
There's nothing for them to do though, because they got Oscar tied up.
But realistically, if they wanted to, they could use that to get the titles off the Kabuki Warriors easily.
Mm-hmm.
They could use that. My point is, I've never looked at Dana Brooke and said, "Hey, I know, Paul, I get it." I was using that as an example. My whole thing is that at no point, I'm not going to say at no point, there was a small point where Dana Brooke had an online following trying to push her and let her do her thing, right? Even when she was on TV and they were saying, give Dana a chance, blah, blah, blah. I want to be more of Ashley, yada, 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 all that other stuff. Even though she had that momentum, she did nothing with it. There was just nothing there. Like, she would wrestle, and it's just like, it's all ground, and locks and holds. Like, there's nothing exciting about her style. She's boring as a wrestler. She just is. She's boring as a wrestler. My whole thing is if you can get Sarah Logan to get reps against her, and you have all these other women who are injured who are going to come back, Lana's gonna they're gonna need people to enhance the talent going forward when all these women come back. Why not use Lana? Or if you're gonna put her with someone who can actually use her. Not Bobby. Like, again, Tyler Breeze is now doing nothing again. If you're gonna go with Paul's idea and bring her down to NXT, have her valet for Prince Pretty. Makes more sense. And turn Prince Pretty into Val Venus. Makes more sense. But you're gonna cuckold the black guy? Just because he's big, muscular, and has a bald head? Really? You might as well just start having bra and panty matches again.
What I want to see, because we've I'm not gonna say we danced around this, but we've been basically trying to say that they know how to. Well, not hell, Jaquan, you came out and actually said it. They know how to book people that are white and blonde. But I want to see when Baszler makes her debut on the main roster, if anything is going to change. I hope to God it does.
Truth be told, honestly, here's what I'm afraid of. Because Baszler is such an anti-diva, I'm afraid that the crowd is actually going to rally around her and they're going to turn her into a face.
They probably are.
Yeah.
Because think about it, the people she attacked to get the heat that she did. She beat Ember Moon.
Mm-hmm.
She attacked Dakota Kai when she was still a face. She attacked Bianca Belair. She attacked Candice LeRae. Like, she attacked everyone that people love so much, so it was easy to hate her.
Mm-hmm.
She comes onto the main roster. Who's she gonna attack? Becky Lynch. People are gonna cheer for her. Charlotte Flair. People are gonna cheer for her. Lana. People are gonna cheer. People want to destroy the establishment at this point because the establishment is bullshit. So your whole anti-diva thing that you had going on, they probably will do that with Baszler. And then by the time the 4 Horsewomen actually debut, the WWE is not going to know what to do because at this point, everyone hates the WWE 4 Horsewomen. Bayley's boring as a heel because they won't let her do anything. Sasha Banks is boring because she looks like somebody's best friend. Charlotte Flair is boring because all they do is turn her into a Terminator and she squashes everyone. She's basically Roman Reigns from 2 years ago. And who's the other one? Becky Lynch is boring because she's basically Seth Rollins. They're all boring. We all hate them now. They're terrible.
Damn, Jay. Golly, bro.
Am I wrong? Somebody tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
That was deep.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ronda Rousey comes back, wrestles a terrible match, she gets the pop of a lifetime. Because at least it's something new.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. This is again them putting themselves in a corner. So because of the fact they didn't write anybody correctly, Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, or Bayley. Now when Baszler comes up and like you say, and I think I agree with you, she's gonna be the anti-diva. The crowd's gonna cheer for her because they don't like the diva ones anymore. They're gonna cheer for her. So whatever you thought of her about being a heel goes out the window. She's gonna be the anti-hero. She's gonna be the face that's supposed to be the heel. Everybody's gonna cheer for that. And then now what are you gonna do? You can't have her attack faces because she's a face. So you can't have her attack Carmella or Naomi.
Even then,
like, because what's going to happen?
Carmella gets no reaction. Nobody cares.
No.
Comes back. She could basically come back. She should come back as a heel. She should come back, and the Usos should come back as heels.
But here's the thing.
That basically everyone turned their back on her because he's a drunk and this is that. You know what? Y'all don't know about our life. Y'all don't know about our lifestyle, and just have them come back as heels.
Real quick.
It's interesting.
On top of the dome, who's the face? Who are the faces? Becky.
I don't know.
Becky. What's that called? What's her called? The woman's right. What's her name? Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
The coffee cup girls. Bliss. Ross. Who are your faces? Natalia
and Charlotte. Charlotte's a face right now.
Charlotte's a face.
She fought Natalia.
She's a face right now.
She didn't feel like a face last night.
Well, she never feels like a face because all of her promos are scripted heelishly because with the direction that she's getting from the back is you're a Flair, so you got to go out there and tout yourself like Ric Flair. The problem is Ric Flair for the majority of his career was a fucking heel.
Mm-hmm.
So even though she's wrestling as a face going out there, she's facing, the Kabuki Warriors and whoever else they put in front of her. But she's going out there and she's speaking like she's still a heel. So you can't even call her a tweener, though, because she's like legitimately straight up a face right now. Like,
just the same way,
I have no idea what it is that they're doing.
My whole thing is I can't even look at the Kabuki Warriors as heels because it's like, yeah, the music is dope. Yeah, the attire is dope. Yeah, Asuka turned kind of they do dirty tricks or whatever, but it's like, who's their foil? Like, the only thing that makes them heelish is that they cut promos in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to hate the Japanese.
Well, that's what certain people over there think.
Yeah, I'm like, if they would just put her with someone who could actually speak better English that was Japanese, then maybe I'll believe it. Because at least then they would have a mic. Like, Paige as their mic was stupid because it's like, well, we all love Paige, so we can't, like, we know Paige can't wrestle, so we know that, like, she's just here. Nothing was organic about it.
No. No. I mean, I don't. This is
if they had some type of a connection beforehand, I could have seen that make some kind of sense. But even when like everybody they've tried to put Paige with makes absolutely no sense outside of AJ Lee.
No.
Well, again, Ascension made Absolution made sense to me. Absolution, because it was one of those situations where it's like, I'm bringing these young kids up and they're going to be my henchwomen. But it didn't work out because her neck messed up.
I get that from that point but you could technically put that in the same type of category as Asuka and Kairi Sane. These two are going to be my henchwomen right now. Mm-hmm. My thing is, when you had the Paige AJ Lee thing, the two of them started out hating each other, beating the crap out of each other every single chance they could possibly get, turning their backs on each other every chance they could possibly get, and then they finally came together and formed a team for one night. But it was something that was built up. These other two, or not even other two, these other three, were just thrown together like, hey, Paige, you need some help facing these three different chicks. Here's Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Now you three are all your best friends together. What? Where did that even come from?
Yeah, this is too much, man. I mean, it's like I said, the whole women's revolution is a joke. It was a joke from the jump. I remember telling you guys that, and then I remember saying how. I remember we were talking about how you have all these Saudi shows, and you're not doing anything with the women while the men are away. Why not give them another pay-per-view?
The women have said it. They going on WWE backstage, and
yep.
Alexa Bliss and Ember Moon was like, "What the fuck?"
And that's why I said the whole thing with the women's revolution is a joke. They made first pay-per-view Evolution just to have it out there, but why did they knock it off so bad? Well, first of all, they put it in the worst stadium or arena that you could in New York. That's the first thing.
They should have went to Prudential Center. They probably would have got a better turnout if they would have went to Prudential.
It would have been better. Easier access to everybody. Anybody in New York.
Like, who goes to Nassau? I thought Nassau Coliseum was closed.
It technically, well, all right. Nassau Coliseum is what the Izot Center is right now.
It's there.
Nobody. It's there, but it's not in use. So,
that's like having the Manhattan Theater open and actually thinking you're going to have a pay-per-view there.
Yeah.
Like, what
yeah. Well, let's end this show. Which is, yeah, we're going back to old commentary pretty much. But as you guys can see, we were not impressed with the way Raw ended last night with the whole Bobby Lashley Lana wedding, how it went, what came out of it. And the biggest take out of it was Liv Morgan's repackaging debut was the worst. Mm-hmm. The worst. Bobby's being misused again. Let's see what happens because if this keeps going, I don't think he's gonna resign. I think he might leave and go back to else.
I hope he just retires, just or goes to AEW or NWA, like New Japan, just anywhere at this point.
I'd rather see him in New Japan, to be honest.
I don't know if what he does fits New Japan. That's the only reason I say that.
Yeah.
I feel like AEW needs a big, powerful guy outside of Jack Hager. Like they need like a Goldberg killer type to really set off. Especially because they go by record. Mm-hmm. Bobby comes in and is basically on a collision course with Jon Moxley. And considering that Bobby was in ECW and can definitely dig into like that bloodier style, Jon Moxley versus Bobby Lashley would be one hell of a match.
Right.
And that's a good
I'm looking
way to
up
give
something
Jon
right
Moxley's
now.
first loss.
Nah, I'm sorry. I was just looking up something real quick.
No, you're good.
Just because I needed to see exactly what Lashley has done outside of the WWE.
MMA.
No, TNA. TNA.
Had an incredible run in TNA.
4-time world champion.
Mm-hmm.
Every other title that he's held, the King of the Mountain, the X Division, and I don't know what this TNA Championship Series thing is, but on Tom's, he has been out there holding the top title in another company. Now, maybe it's typical Vince McMahon type, I'm not going to put over a star that another company made type bullshit. Because, you got a guy like, now granted, pushing R-Truth at this point is stupid, but you got a guy like Ron the Truth Killings, the very first champion over there. The very first. The man can actually go. It's just that he makes you laugh. Right, Vince? He makes you laugh, so you have to keep him in the laughing, that laughter role, the Joker, the court jester. That's what you want to keep him in. Like I said, right now, our truth is like what? He came out there, he won the United States Championship a couple of months ago, but even then, that was just to set up Samoa Joe. But it's just like you look at these guys coming from these other companies and stuff.
It's a whole other rant.
I know.
Yeah.
But you look at these guys that are coming in from other companies and stuff, and it's just like, all right, Lashley was originally a WWE product. Granted, he was Indies before, but he was WWE. He came up through the WWE ranks and everything. Mm-hmm. And instead of actually making him out to be the killer that he is, you then shoehorned him into some bullshit because of the fact that he left your company after he was tired of dealing with the bullshit that was over here and actually made something of himself in TNA, in MMA.
Yep.
But anyway, we can be going on about Lashley and all those other nonsense that we've seen so far for days and days on end. And I got an article to write. So
stay tuned. We recorded the WWE year-end awards. I'm editing the video, so it should be up soon, everybody. So watch out for that coming up soon. All right. Thanks for joining us, Benny, Jaquan, and myself. See you next time.